female circumcision now. Now.
Because we've seen a lot of cases that leads to death of the female child. And it's like a torture on them as a female child. And most times there's something you said that it protrudes out. It's not everyone that protrudes out. And it's only a dirty person that will not wash part of it very well. So that is why most times when we are telling children, always pay attention to that area. Even when I'm taking delivery, most times I take my time to, especially when it's a female child, I take my time to clean that child up.
Very well.
In terms of worrying.
Somebody is asking a question.
In terms of pouring olive oil,
No.
that aspect, I'm doing it very well. That part of it.
No.
So I pay attention to that area, but that's where most mothers don't pay attention to.
No.
Especially when their child have pampers or what you call it.
No.
They don't buy. Most causes and biases. I know of that.
No.
But when you talk of promiscuity, which you mentioned there, like it causes promiscuity, right? Yeah?
Yes.
It's an individual thing. Like in those days, many people they used to carry their children. You understand? To be used as a sex machine. You want to tell me that they don't enjoy it, that's what you're doing. All those girls that feel are going to listen, most of them are husbands and they still go outside. Most of them they are circumcised. And there are some people that it depends on the heart. I see it as individual something. Because there are some children that are not circumcised. Like I was not circumcised. And my children, I did never have anything. And if you did never husband, so sorry I'm saying this house. He asked, I told him no. He said, how come?
Okay, let me react to that so that we don't waste too much time on that now. So
I read it in the book. It's supposed to be for two of them as both sex, which is the male and the female. But the one that's more important is the male. That's more important.
That's what you read in the book.
Yes.
Okay, the article I wrote. Which one did you read there in the article? My own.
I read everything.
And which one? That's what I say. What I wrote now. In the group. What did you see there as per, importance?
Islamically, they said it's important.
Let me help you out. Please, let's quickly. We are live. All we are doing now is live. So people who are viewing this are hearing your voices and hear everything that you are saying. Now let us react because we have limited time. All right. When we talk about circumcision in Islam, our faith is based upon Allah's injunctions. It is just like I made this phone, right? I am the one who originated this phone. It means that I will understand the mechanics of this phone more than any other person. In other words, if there should be any fault in this phone, a mere looking at it like this, I may be able to tell where the fault is because I made it. I knew what the right proportion of whatever is in it and all of that. I know what can cause a fault. If you give it to another repairer, it may take days, or even if not days, a lot of time to be able to detect the fault and find a solution to it, unlike whoever made it. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran that وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ, even in your own selves, have you not seen what Allah created? Are you not seeing the magnificence of Allah in your own selves? Right? In another surah, Allah said, Allah is خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ بِالْحَقِّ وَصَوَّرَكُمْ فَأَحْسَنَ صُوَرَكُمْ. Allah created everything in truth. He then fashioned you and gave you the best fashion. What does that mean? It means that the way Allah has created us is the best of what He has created everything, of how He created every other thing. In other words, He is our fashioner, sustainer. That is the literal meaning of Rabb, the word Rabb, the one who made, fashion, sustains, protect, the Lord, and so on. Okay? So, since Allah has created us, we now realize and we understand that there are a lot of laws that Allah has given us pertaining to our life and existence based on how He has created us and based on how our life become better for us. As a result, we believe that whatever Allah has told us to do is best for us, and whatever He has told us to live is also best for us. In the issue of circumcision, the Prophet Muhammad SAW told us that the male and the female should be circumcised. As at that time, the technological advancements, as at that time, was not enough such that people would be able to realize the benefit of circumcising a child, whether male or female. Nobody knew. Okay? So even till now, there are still people who don't circumcise their male children. There are still people till today who don't circumcise them, and I've seen them with my eyes. Yes, I've seen children in Yorubas when they want to get married. Yes. I've also seen some Hausas too who don't circumcise, because I have lived with them. I've also seen some of them who don't circumcise their male children still. Sometimes still they want to get married. Some will not even circumcise at all. You understand? Now, this is because, as at that time the Prophet said this, there was no technological advancement to be able to diagnose and see the reason why this should be done. But the Muslims then believed in it as what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained, and because He's our fashioner and developer, our creator, and then they practiced it like that. Only later on, the people begin to realize that there are a lot of scientific benefits to circumcising children, especially male children. What is the Islamic injunction of circumcising the male? Islamically, it is obligatory. In fact, it is called Sunnatul Fitrah. We have done that in this class. It's called the Sunnah of the nature of man. That a male child must be sacrificed, be circumcised. All right. So this is an obligation that must be carried out. If one does not do this, it becomes disobedience to Allah. What is the Islamic injunction in the circumcision of female children? The Islamic ruling on female child circumcision is that it is not obligatory rather. If you read the article very well, you see it. It is not an obligation. Rather, it is mustahab, meaning it is recommended. Not if you like. It is recommended to do. It's just like when somebody recommends that if you do this, it's good, though, but if you don't do it, there is no harm. What does that mean? It means that the wisdom behind it, as some have said, some of the ulama, is that it is meant to be mustahab, recommended, and not obligatory because, the benefits that come with it, right? The things that it prevents are not in everybody, are not very serious in everybody. Just as this woman has mentioned, that the issue of libido, that like we said, we pointed out in the article, that it reduces the libido of some women such that it does not make them too demanding, you know. So it reduces it to some extent. Not everybody naturally has high libido. Okay, some persons do, some don't. So not everybody has that. How do we detect one who will have such and one will not have such when they grow up from childhood? There's no way we can detect it. You understand? So some scholars now said, okay, because these things are not in everybody, probably that is why the ruling is such that it's not obligatory. Because if it were obligatory, the Prophet would have made it obligatory. The Prophet did not make it obligatory in his time, and as such, it cannot be obligatory after his time. Do you understand? Secondly, is that there are not too many, I mentioned this last week, there are not too many people who know how to do this very well. Remember that the hadith that, promoted female circumcision, a very popular one, is the one the Prophet told the people, cut it, but don't cut it too deep. And he gave the exact, he gave the exact way of cutting when they are circumcising the female children. Now, scientifically today, if you look at the article I wrote on the group, I did not bring those facts from my own, initiative. I brought those facts from what have been published, right? I have done a lot of researches on this issue, and I also want you to do similar. Articles have been published by medical practitioners. WHO has also published articles, and they have said that when it comes to circumcising females, if it is circumcised in such a way that there is no too much cut, as the President has prescribed, there have never been any negative impact reported medically from any such female circumcised. But when it has to do with too much cutting, then there's a lot of infections that come with it. It can tamper with the blood vessels. It can lead to bleeding, which can eventually lead to death and some other related issues. This perhaps is the reason why the Prophet did not make it obligatory. Who knows? Because whatever the Prophet said is what Allah has inspired him to say. I hope we understand. Whatever the Prophet has given us is what Allah has inspired him to say, not what he said out of his own whims and desires. So as a result, he himself was not a magician, neither was he a scientist. So there was no way he could have predicted the future. But Allah inspired him to say, do this like this, say it like that. Do you understand? So what we should do as Muslims is that we should follow what has been brought to us and believe that there is a good reason behind it. Okay? Believe there is a good reason behind it. I have seen a number of female children in Benin City right here. I have a daughter also. I have seen a lot of female children in Benin who were not circumcised. And we talked, we discussed, some of us who discuss religious matters in Benin, who probably are somehow a little bit, knowledgeable, and we discuss certain matters related to religion. We have discussed these issues together. And we have come to a conclusion that, yes, Alhamdulillah, first of all, it's not even obligatory in Islam. If it were obligatory, that is where we'll start saying, okay, we must do this. Let's not fight each other. Those who don't do it. First of all, it's not obligatory. Secondly, we don't have experts too much that will do it. Thirdly, the advantages that come with it. Yes, there are advantages that come with circumcising female children. These advantages can also be gotten somehow for those persons who are not circumcised. They can also be gotten some other ways. And sometimes the disadvantages of people who are not circumcised are not too much. They're not too many now, such that we now say, okay, the effect is now, negative effect is too much, that we have to do this, is a must. No. So as a result, there's no point for us to debate the matter very much, because Alhamdulillah is not even obligatory, in Islam from the first place. You understand? So the point I'm trying to make here is, we are not going to, speak against circumcising female children because it is allowed in Islam. However, we are going to preach that people should learn how to circumcise their children if they are to circumcise their children, their female children. And if we fear that there's going to be harm in it, then leave it totally. Because in the first place, it's not obligatory in Islam. Leave it totally and don't do it. You understand? If you fear that it's going to be harm at all, no problem, leave it. There are other things that we can do that are harmless. In fact, even anything that is obligatory, if there's any obligatory, such as female circumcision that is obligatory and anything that is obligatory, if you even fear that you will be harmed by doing it, you should not even do it. Such as praying, for example. Even salah that is an obligation, that is a pillar of the deen. If you are in a place where you fear harm, that you might be gunned down, or your king, your leader has said, don't observe salah. If you observe salah, I'm going to shoot you, you are going to die, and so on. Islam even permits that you don't observe the salah because of fear. There is now fear of losing your life. If you still go ahead to observe salah and you are shot or you are killed, you die a shaheed, no problem, alhamdulillah. You go to Jannah, you are happy. But if you are still afraid that you don't want to observe salah, no problem, there is no sin on you. As long as in your heart you believe that it is an obligation, but you are only avoiding it for fear of harm. I hope you understand. So even things like that are obligations, we still are allowed to let them go, let alone things that are not even obligations in the first place. May Allah Ta'ala make it easy for us and grant us the best understanding. So, now. Okay. I did not do it for her because I had the fear that the person, I can't find a person who will do it properly. That's why I did not do it. Well, I asked around. I checked. I don't even trust that doctor. I asked around, I checked anybody who can do it. And because I could not have a beneficiary answer, I did not attempt to do it. Do you understand? Before I will cause harm, and then Allah will tell me, did I ask you to do it compulsorily before? Allahu alam. Allahul musta'an. So that was the issue raised last week, and I hope that we have been able to provide suitable explanation for it. Now, we are now going to move on to the story of Abu Bakr that we started long before now. Last week, we stopped at the first address. Are we still together? We stopped at the first address that Abu Bakr as-Siddiq gave to the people after he resumed office as the Caliph, as the Khalifah to Rasulullah. Now we are going to look into the first expedition that Abu Bakr sent out. Now, before the Prophet's demise, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he had sent a delegation of army commanded by a 17-year-old boy whose name was Usama bin Zaid. Now, Usama was the name of the commander of an army. In that army, there were notable companions who were way older than Usama. Even Umar bin Khattab was one of the soldiers under the command of Usama. So the Prophet made Usama the commander of that army, a 17-year-old boy. I'm going to draw out some lessons from this act, but let's continue the story first. Now, they were to go to a Levant, and go for an expedition that time before the Prophet's demise. When the Prophet, they had not left Medina when the Prophet passed away. So after he passed away, they had to remain in Medina, spend some time there in order for things to settle down and all of that before any other issue. When Abu Bakr became the Caliph, he immediately sent them out. Some of the companions came to him to dissuade him and said, no, the Prophet just passed. People have not settled down. Remember, I told you that after the Prophet's demise, some tribes started to go back to disbelief. Those whose faith were not strong. Those who just, people accepted Islam for three reasons. One, some people accepted Islam because they loved how Islam was conquering every tribe and nation. They were happy to join that force. Others accepted Islam for, for what they thought they could benefit from it. Probably benefit power, probably benefit from booties, or anything they thought they could benefit from it. Because when people, your enemies will hear that you are backed by the Muslims, and probably they may become scared and they will not attack. Those days tribes used to have tribal wars. They used to fight each other over little issues like that. So some of them just wanted to be Muslims so that they could benefit, from the protection of the Muslims. You understand? That was one. That's number two. Then number three, there were persons who believed in Islam, who truly believed, so they were Muslims. Okay? So after the Prophet demise, those persons who actually did not believe in Islam, who were just doing it for, one other reasons, aside actual believing in Allah and the Rasul Sallallahu, they started to leave Islam gradually. And I told you there were other persons who claimed prophethood. There were people like Musaylama, the Musaylama al-Khadab, the one he was called the liar. Musaylama the liar. Him too was one of the persons who claimed prophethood. Then we had, I think, Tulayha or something from the tribe of Banu Asad. Banu Asad is called Al-Asadi. Him too also claimed, prophethood, that he was a prophet. We had one other, I can't remember her name. One other person like that also claimed prophethood. So from Banu Tamim, yes, this one also was from Banu Tamim, also claimed prophethood. So there were some false prophets there. So when the prophets passed away, they sprung up and people started defecting and going to those prophets and started claiming, allegiance to those ones and so on. So the nation was in chaos somehow. Okay. Now, some companions came to meet Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and said, no, you cannot send out an army when the prophet just passed and we are open to attacks. People can now say, okay, let's attack them now and destroy this nation once and for all. We are now open to attacks. So you cannot just send out the strength that we have. Let them stay so that they can protect, the nation when we are having external attacks. But Abu Bakr now said he will never, stop an expedition that was already stamped by the Prophet ﷺ himself. The Prophet already sent the expedition out. I cannot stop it. So he refused. Another way that people tried to dissuade him was that they said, okay, Osama was very young. He was 17. Okay, why don't you place somebody who has more experience in battles as the command, at the command or as the commander of the army and leave Osama? He said, no, I will not sack a person that has been appointed by the Prophet himself. Now, what are the lessons that we can draw out from this? Number one, from Abu Bakr saying that he will not stop what the Prophet ﷺ has started, or he will not even sack a person that the Prophet ﷺ had appointed, it means that the companions were bent on doing what the Prophet ﷺ had given them without changing anything from it. In fact, they will not even change a letter from the hadith. When they are narrating the hadith, they will not even change one letter, one word that the Prophet ﷺ said and replace it with their own. Just like when you are talking now, I come to you and I tell you, I want to go to school. When you want to report that my speech to another person, you will say, Mustafa said he wants to go to school, right? They will not report the Prophet's speech like that. They will report it by saying, the Prophet said, I want to go to school. So they will say it verbatim, exactly how the Prophet ﷺ voiced it. That was how they would say it. You understand? So that they will not have any differentiation. They will not add anything to it. Neither will they subtract anything from it. They were so keen to protecting Islam, protecting the tradition of the Prophet ﷺ, protecting the deen, protecting the Quran, the sanctity of the Quran, that nothing was changed, not even a letter, not even a word. I hope you understand. So this was the case of Abu Bakr. Again, another lesson we can draw out from this is that for Osama to be 17 and he was deemed fit by the Prophet ﷺ to lead an army to war shows that a 17-year-old child at that time would not look small physically. Do you understand? Now, we hear of cases where people would try to lambast us and try to say negative things about Islam and the Prophet Islam for marrying Aisha at a tender age of around 6, I think. And and how the marriage was consummated before she attained 10, and so on. And they would say the Prophet married a child, and Muslims are doing this and that and so on. Now, when you analyze this issue, you discover that in the Arabian Peninsula, as at that time, it was not uncommon for a person to marry a 6-year-old girl, or for a 6-year-old child to go out to get married. People who if you read the books of history, people were not even Muslims who got married at that time, got married at that same age range. Now, let me give you an example. If what the Prophet ﷺ did was strange, if his marriage to Aisha was strange to the people at that time, it would have already led to an outburst that time before now. We would have heard a lot of companions, a lot of persons, Muslims and non-Muslims alike, talking against it, saying this, preaching against marrying Aisha at that age. You would have heard it. You would have seen it in the history books, right? But nobody said anything about it. Nobody even thought of anything like that because it was a normal thing. Female children got married at that age. At that time, a lot of female children had already matured because of the environment, because of the atmosphere they were staying in. So it was not something strange. It was not unknown. It was not uncommon. If a 17-year-old child could go to war and even lead an army, it means that the child was mature. Physically, the child was well built. Okay? The child was well built. Physically. So he could go to war. That also means that a female child at that age was also already properly well built to be a mother of children. In other words, a female child of 10 years old, a 7 years different, was already ripe to be a mother. Looking at the nature of the people at that time and looking at the environment, the atmosphere of the people at that time. I hope you understand. So this is one of the ways to refute those persons who say that the Prophet ﷺ did wrong for marrying Aisha at that age. Again, today I want us to relate this to ourselves. As a Muslim, if we hear Qala Rasulullah ﷺ, the Prophet said, the companions those days, they used to look for Hadith, the sayings of the Prophet ﷺ, so that they will follow it, so that they will do what the Prophet said. Not so that they will know and memorize it and start using it to give lectures. That was not the aim. The aim of them looking for what the Prophet said, trying to learn what the Prophet ﷺ said and memorize it, was for them to practice it and do it. And they used to look for things that are makruh, things that are disliked by the Prophet ﷺ, so that they will avoid it. But today, people go to schools, people go to markers, people are learning. Why are they learning? So that they can memorize and they can start using it for lectures, giving beautiful talks when they are talking. Not so that they will use it in their lives. Not so that they will practice what they have learned. Not so that they will obey the Prophet's injunctions, and leave disobedience. But so that they will be able to give good lectures, good talks, good speeches. These are people are learning. People are also looking for things that the Prophet ﷺ disliked, that are makruh nowadays, not because they want to go away from them, not because they want to stay away from them, but because they want to practice them, because they want to do them. And when you ask them, they say, after all, it's not forbidden, it's only disliked. Subhanallah. The companions used to look for things that are disliked so that they will not practice, they will stay away from them. But we are looking for things that are disliked so we can practice them and use them as an excuse for saying that we can do them because they are not forbidden. Okay? So there are a lot of things that we need to learn from the stories of the companions. How they practiced Islam, how they learned Islam, how they revered Islam, how they never played and joked with anything regarding to the Quran and regarding to the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah Ta'ala make it easy for us. Now, having done this, Abu Bakr decided to send out that army led by Osama bin Zaid. Osama bin Zaid, was the day they left Medina going out for the battle, Abu Bakr did something very stunning, something that was very remarkable. In order for Osama and the army, the soldiers, to be motivated, he escorted Osama out. He escorted the army out, and Osama being the commander was in front of the army, riding on a horse, while Abu Bakr was walking on his foot while they were moving out of Medina, so that he could motivate him, give him that encouragement that he needed as he was going out of Medina for an expedition. Okay, now Osama requested, he was not okay with moving with the Khalifa, and he was on a horse while the Khalifa was on foot. He requested that he should come down while the Khalifa should ride on a horse, and then he should move on foot. However, Abu Bakr refused. Abu Bakr refused and said, I will not listen, I will not do any of the two you have said. I will not ride on the horse, neither will I allow you to come down and walk on your foot. Do you understand? So that was how he escorted them outside, and he motivated them and gave them the courage they needed, and then they left Medina. Then what happened after that? Now, we will now look at the war or the wars of apostasy. You see, after the army had left, some tribes, the tribe of Hisan and Qisam, I think. Now, so they came to the tribe of Dhul Qissa, the tribe of Dhul Qissa and another tribe. They came, and Dhul Hissa. They sent delegations to Medina to Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and companions, and they requested, I believe I gave us a brief of this last week. They requested that they should be exempted from paying zakah. Do you know why? They claimed that the zakah was only tax that they were contributing to Quraysh, because the president was from Quraysh. So they alleged that no, you just want us to be giving you money, so we cannot pay zakah again. Since the Prophet is no longer alive, we are still Muslims, we will still pray, we do other things, but we will not pay zakah. You understand? We will not pay zakah. Now, this was what they said. Abu Bakr immediately called his advisors together. They did the shura. He asked questions. How can we do this? What do we do? How can we decide to? How can we leave them? Should we leave them without paying zakah, or should we not leave them? He called people and decided to ask questions on what to do. Now, at the end of the day, some of the companions, in fact, all the companions he consulted at that time, all advised that you should allow them be. Okay, not be only zakah, so allow them be. Because at the end of the day, it may lead to, war and battle, and it may leave us open. The fear that the companions had was that an army expedition had just been sent out of Medina. So the Muslims did not have too much strength anymore to withhold any war that can come to them. Exactly. So they were open. So that was the fear they had. Okay, let us allow these people. Just zakah, let's allow them. But Abu Bakr he had a different opinion. He said no. He did not allow them. Do you know why? Now, he saw some, Allah gave him the wisdom. He thought of a lot of things. Number one is, if the people deemed the Muslims weak, and as such, they came with such, what's it called, needs, or they came to ask for such that they should be exempted from paying zakah, it means that a time will come when they will come to ask for more. And if we grant the first one, we have to keep granting the others. If we grant the first one like this, we have to continue granting the others. Therefore, Abu Bakr was, not in agreement that they should grant them, that permission. Another reason was that Abu Bakr foresaw that these people would turn out to be hypocrites, because there's going to be tribal war if we do this. Now you are saying that you are not going to give Quraysh. You are not thinking they are giving Quraysh the money, the tax, whatever you are giving. Tomorrow, another tribe will come and say, no, the Khalifa is from Quraysh. We will not allow that. Another tribe will come and say, no, let the Khalifa come from another tribe. They will now become a tribal war very soon. And this was what Islam came to abolish, that everybody is one, regardless of where you came from, whether you are an Arab or a non-Arab, whether you are black or white, whether you are red or green, whether you are, from this tribe or not, wherever you are from, whatever you are, your color is, you are a Muslim, you are under the banner of Islam. There is no segregation. This is what Islam came to fight. So the fact that Islam came to fight this, you saying we should exempt you from paying zakat because you feel, you are bringing tribalism into the matter already, this is going to make the whole essence null and void if we decide to accept it. Abu Bakr thought of all of these issues. And again, zakah and salah are together, they are inseparable. Because in the Quran, Allah mentions the salah and mentions zakah immediately after. Giving and observing salah. So Abu Bakr was not ready to separate the two. And as such, he made a very stunning statement that I will fight whoever separate between zakah and salah. Even Umar was at first in support of the idea that they should be they should be exempted. But later on, he realized that he was wrong and he exclaimed and he proclaimed that Abu Bakr was right. Again, Umar was supposed to be in the expedition of Usama. But Abu Bakr did something very unique out of his level of humility, even if he was the Khalifa. Instead of him to just go to Umar and say, Umar, you will not follow this army, come and sit down. He wrote a letter to the 17-year-old Usama requesting his permission to allow Umar remain with him in Medina so that he could consult Umar if there were any important issues to be, that would necessitate consultations. Because Umar was well known for his vast knowledge and his ability to judge well, right, and so on. So he had that charisma, and he was well known for that. So instead of Abu Bakr to just say, no, you are not going with them, sit here, I'm the Khalifa. He wrote a letter to Usama and requested his permission. Had Usama not permitted him, he would have not forced Umar to stay. Because he understood the importance of leadership in Islam. No matter who is the leader, no matter how old or how young the leader is, as long as he is the leader, in fact, the Prophet ﷺ himself was one who granted him that leadership, who gave him that position. So as long as he was already there, nobody would take it away from him. This is what we all need to learn from: humility. When we are in any position, we must be humble. If you have leaders, obey your leaders. The Prophet ﷺ even said that you should obey your leaders even if they are rebellious, even if they are wicked to you, even if they torture you, still obey them. Because the people asked him, when the Prophet said that a time will come when the leaders become tyrants. The people asked him, yes, what do we do when that time comes? Should we fight them? He said, no, don't raise your weapons against them. Obey them, even if they are wicked to you. What should we now do? Obey them and make dua for them, so that Allah can either change them to become better, or Allah will remove them and replace them with those who are better. Okay? But you have to do two things. You have to obey them. You have to be good followers, first of all. What many of us lack is followership. We lack a good sense of followership. We don't know how to follow. Yet, we blame leaders of not knowing how to lead. How can you lead a people who cannot follow? How can you lead a people who do not know the meaning of followership, the meaning of leadership? They cannot even obey their leaders. Today, you see people carrying placards. During the last planned protest, I know an imam in the masjid who advised his congregation and said, don't protest, gave reasons, don't protest. This is an imam, this is a leader. Ordinarily, the people are supposed to obey the leader. But today we are too stubborn, we are too knowledgeable, that your leaders are now trash. Your imam will say this, you say no, you are not correct, imam, I cannot follow you. When Allah tells us to obey Allah and His Messenger and obey those in position of authority, and your leader says, no, don't do this, and you still go ahead to do it, and you are still rebellious, and you think Allah will give you a leader that is better than you? No. So we now lack that ability to obey our leader, so much so that we go against our leaders. And yet, we are complaining and grumbling of the kind of leaders that we have. The kind of leaders that we have are based on the kind of followers that we have. If I cannot follow, then I cannot lead. That is the point. So that leader that is there now could not follow, just like you and who cannot follow. That is why he cannot lead well. Tomorrow, if you who are complaining today eventually emerge as a leader there, you will do like that, or even do worse than that. Okay? You will do like that or do worse than that. That is why Allah says that Allah in Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. Allah does not change. Allah has never changed. Allah will never change the condition of a people until and unless they change themselves. The condition we are now, Allah did not bring us to this condition. We brought ourselves to the condition because we changed. The only way we can become better again is when we change again to become better people. We cannot be a people who are fraudulent, a people who are scammers, a people who are full of, idolaters, a people who are lying, people who are cheating, people who are worshiping, other deities, people who are now doing, there is hardly anybody you will see today who is doing well financially or who is in a business who does not do sir. Even among the Muslim communities. This is a problem. It's a problem. Muslims who are practicing, they will tell you, I have one afar, so and so prayer, I have one malam. That's my special malam. Now they do my prayer for me. What kind of prayer does it do for you that you cannot do for yourself? When you now dig deep, you now discover that it's not Fatiha that you are reading, they are reading. That is not the prayer they're talking about. Each time they want to pray, they must buy one ram or two rams or one cow or two cows or one snail and one lizard and one whatever, so that they can do the so-called prayer they are doing. That is not even Islam anymore. Some people are not even Muslims anymore. Even among these Muslim communities, you find people who are engaged in seer, in magic, in black magic, to become stable in any way. Some people will use magic to get married, to marry a wife or a husband. When the foundation of your home is built upon seer, upon the shaitan, the devil, the Satan, and you expect that the marriage will be heaven for you. You expect that the marriage will be bed of roses for you. You expect that you have children whose heads are correct. You think you will not have children who the shaitan will temper with. This is a problem. When people are now engaging so much in all of these, how do you expect society to be serene, to be calm, to be clean, to be clear, to be good? How do you expect that Allah will give us leaders who are better than us? Even if Allah gives us a leader that is very just, that is very fair, that is very calm, he will not be able to lead the treacherous people. Do you know that? They will kill him. They will kill him. If Allah gives us a leader now that is better than us, that is very good to us, very just, very fair, very humble, very this, very that, the way we want it, the way you see everybody protesting, what they want is that the leaders are bad, end bad government. For life, Allah gives us a good government, he will not be able to lead us. We will kill him. Because he will not, what he will be doing, the policy will bring the people will not like it. Because the people have a heart of stealing. They want to steal, they want to embezzle, they are selfish. So because of that, they will not allow him rest. But so Allah gave us a person that is worse than us. We say we are thieves, we have one who is better than us in that area. We say we are scammers, we have one who is better than us. We say we are treacherous, we have one who is more treacherous. That is why we are complaining, because the treachery is no longer in our disposition. It's not somewhere that is harder than us from us to get. Let Allah save us. So Allah, we are in need of reformation, all of us. The Ummah is in need of reformation. It's in need of change. We must change ourselves. We must become better. We must stop lying to each other. We must stop cheating each other. We must become just. We must stop reducing, measurement. You want to sell gari, you want to sell one rubber, you reduce it to half. And you think you are smart, whereas Allah is looking at you. And when you want to buy, you will stand in front of the woman selling and ensure that she puts her 2 hands and her 2 legs together and gather everything and sell for you. When she's even measuring it, some people will not say, no, you're not full, rich, you're not full. You tell the woman, pour it again, measure it again. The woman will pour it, start measuring again. You stand there, you're watching. Why? You want your full measure to be given to you. And even when you say the woman is measuring it well, you say, no, put that hand well. Put your shoulder, Jonah, put the rubber for your chest. So that the gari can enter well. When you want to sell your own to your people, you start reducing the measurements. You start selling, you start cheating people. Allah cursed such people in the Quran. Allah cursed them in that surah. Those who reduce the measurement. They want full measurement for themselves. But when they want to give out, they want to sell out, they reduce the measure. They reduce the scales. They tamper with their scale. Look at people who are selling fuel. Go to gas stations. You see when you want to buy 1 liter, what they will sell for you is not up to 1 liter. But what is on the meter is 1 liter. You pay huge sum of money, but you are having less than what you bought. Some of these stations are owned by Muslims, not only non-Muslims. Some of these stations are owned by Muslims. Do you know what happens if you even have a free station today and you're not cheating, you're doing well? The others don't allow you rest. You will ensure they fight you until they close you down. Wallahi, they don't allow you rest. Why? Because we are now a people who are keen to doing evil. And yet we want good leaders, we want saints, we want angels from heaven to come and lead us. When the leaders are our children, our sons, our daughters, our brothers, our sisters, our neighbors, we stay in the same communities together, we eat together, we're in the same country together, we do the same bad things together, and we expect them to be better when they get there. So please, let us change, all of us. Change can be difficult, but we can achieve it. Let's become better. Treat people with fairness. Be just to everybody. When you sell, sell justly. When you buy, also be fair when you're buying. Don't expect somebody to lose their gain because they want to satisfy you. You become sinful. You know this person will not earn too much from this if they sell it to me like this. Then don't go to that extreme. But at the end of the day, you are trying to make another person uncomfortable, to inconvenience others for your own convenience. That is selfishness. Be fair to people, to yourself and to the people. Let Allah grant us ease. So this is as a result of what Abu Bakr as-Siddiq did, to Usama, not minding that Usama was very young. He sent a letter to him asking him for permission for Umar to stay behind so that he could help with important matters. Now, so regarding this person, some persons, like I said before, started disbelieving. They started going back to Jahiliyyah, and this is a real example of hypocrisy. That means they're not even believers in the first place. In Surah Hujurat, Allah Ta'ala mentions, قَالَتِ الْأَعْرَابُ آمَنَّا, that the desert Arabs came to meet the Prophet and said, we believe, we are believers. So Allah Ta'ala told the Prophet, قُلْ لَمْ تُؤْمِنُوا, they have not believed. Tell them that they have not believed. They are not believers yet. وَلَكِنْ قُولُوا أَسْلَمْنَا, but they should just say we are Muslims. We have submitted. So there's a distinction between being a Muslim and being a mu'min. There's a distinction between Islam, just mere submission, and Iman, having belief, faith in what you are doing. I hope you understand. So Allah says, tell them that they have not believed. Rather, they should just say, Aslamna, we have submitted. وَلَمَّا يَدْخُلِ الْإِيمَانُ فِي قُلُوبِكُمْ, for Iman has not entered their heart. Faith has not entered their heart. If it does, then they will not. They will be true believers. وَإِن تُطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ لَا يَلِتْكُمْ مِنْ أَعْمَالِكُمْ شَيْئًا إِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ Inna Allah ghafurur rahim. That Iman had not entered there, but if they obey Allah and obey His Messenger the way Allah and His Messenger should be obeyed, then Allah will not allow their deeds to be lost. Allah will reward them for their deeds. Allah will give them the reward that they deserve from the deeds, and Allah will not let it slide. Now, we have already mentioned how, the zakah withholders came and then they wanted to be exempted and so on. On the long run, Abu Bakr wrote to the people, the delegates who were sent to Medina, to bring that message to the Khalifa. He wrote to them and told them to go back to their, chiefs and tell them that they must pay the zakah, because this is from Allah, not from the Prophet, not from us. If we claim that we are Muslims, then we must obey Allah. We must not say the Prophet is no longer here, so we disobey him. We disobey Allah. Is Islam for the Prophet? No. Islam is a covenant between you and your Creator and your Rabb and your Lord. Not a covenant between you and the Messenger, or between you and any other human being. Okay? So zakah is from Allah, not from the Prophet ﷺ. Therefore, we must do it. We must obey it. Abu Bakr told them, we cannot exempt you, because zakah is compulsory. It's obligatory. They left. When they left, they went back. Those delegations who came witnessed that the army had left Medina, right? So for jihad. So they felt that, okay, there was nobody in Medina again. The Muslim strength of the army in Medina was now very, small. So it's something that they could easily pounce on the Muslims and they could, defeat them and all of that. So they went back to the people and informed them, look, let's wage a war against people. Let's fight them and let's conquer them so that the Islamic nation can end once and for all. So that was the plan of the hypocrites who came with that message. So they went back and they told their people. So they planned. The Banu Qissa and the other, they planned and they camped. And after 3 days, they planned to attack the Muslims at night when they will be sleeping, and they will not expect any attack, so that they will be able to conquer the Muslims unawares. Now, what happened? Abu Bakr understood that these persons could do something like this. So he gathered the Muslims and he requested for the males, every male in Medina. He came to the mosque and he gave them a sermon. He told them, look, we have to protect the deen of Allah. We have to protect the deen that the person has led for. And gave a very beautiful khutbah, encouraging them, motivating them to get ready, because the people can attack them from any angle at any time. From there, he delegated 6 commanders to lead 6 troops to keep vigil around Medina, to secure Medina, to start watching over throughout the night in Medina. 6, companions. One of them, I think, what's his name? Khalid bin Walid was one of them. Then he had Talha. Then he had Ali bin Abi Talib. Then Abdurrahman bin Auf, Az-Zubair, and one other. So these 6 people were, delegated to lead the troops to go and secure Medina, the entrances, so that nobody could attack them unawares. After 3 days, the enemies decided to attack Medina, and they camped in a neighboring tribe, I think the Banu Qisas or the Banu Hisar. They camped there, and they thought that nobody would be aware that they were coming, so they would pounce on the Muslims at night when they were sleeping and kill them and all of that. So at the end of the day, the Muslims, Abu Bakr got information that they were planning to attack. So he informed them, and on that particular night, he himself, Abu Bakr, went to the troop and he headed the troop. Some of the commanders came to him and said, Abu Bakr, you are the Khalifa, you should go back and appoint another man. If he is killed, appoint another man. If he is killed, appoint another man. But if you are killed, people will be in confusion, will not know what to do. He said, Wallahi, I will not sacrifice your life for my own. I will not take you there and kill you because of myself. So he went there and he led the army. They stayed there, keeping watch. At night, in the middle of the night, the enemies came and thought that the Muslims were sleeping. As they were coming, the Muslims, met them unawares. They were now taken unawares, and then they were defeated. Some of them were killed, and others ran away. and the Muslims pursued them to the neighboring tribe, where a fierce battle took place, and they were defeated. These now they were defeated in the tribe, in the place, in the tribe of the Zulqisa, where they camped. So that battle is called the Battle of Zulqisa. So that now served as deterrent to those persons who were already having or nurturing the same plan to come and say, we'll not do this one again. No. You understand? So that now served as a warning to them that look, the fact that the Prophet Islam had passed away does not mean that Islam is now weak. The Muslims are not weak, we are still strong. So if you want to come and fight us, be ready that you will, have your fair share. So other tribes that were already nurturing that, they now died down, and all of them came and swore their allegiance and assured the Khalifa of their obedience and their allegiance, and then the peace was once again restored in Medina and the neighboring tribes. At this juncture, the companions understood that Abu Bakr was wise to have disagreed with that plea to be exempted from paying zakah. And that was how Abu Bakr was able to wisely, bring again the strength of the Ummah together after the Prophet's demise, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, a lot of battles took place after that, even the battle against Tulayha, one of the first prophets, and many other battles also took place. And then we have Sajah. I mentioned Sajah. That was the one I didn't remember the name. Sajah from the tribe of Banu Tamim. She was also a first prophetess, and she was also defeated, along with other false prophets. So these are some of the achievements of Abu Bakr from the beginning of his caliphate. Now, so inshallah, we are going to, I think it's already past 12 now, and the class is supposed to have ended by 12. We are going to pause here. Bismillah ta'ala, when we come next, we are going to complete this story of Abu Bakr. Like I told us before, the story is a very lengthy one, and if we decide to go with every detail, then it will take too long. But we have to end it so that we can continue with other aspects of the class, inshallah ta'ala. And again, we need to be coming to class early. We need to be coming early so that we can start early. We said 9 o'clock. If we come 9 o'clock, we're able to finish, to start on time, and we'll have enough time to do whatever I want to do, take questions and answer questions, inshallah. May Allah make it easy for us. So I'm going to try my possible best to summarize the rest part of this story so that by next week we'll end it, and then we can now move to other aspects. If we have any questions, let's ask our questions. Any questions? Now, questions, please. Now. Now.
That's why our person is continuing to of this like that's a 2 years old I was living
Now.
what are the like for those of us that have learned that this proposal I've learned that wisdom supersedes whether age. Now what are the things as a mother you advise that we should do either teaching to our children or recommend to our children to help them improve the aspect of being wise because children now they all they know so are there books that you can recommend for us that or encourage them to gain wisdom?
Well, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم. Indeed, as you have said, times have changed, and children are no longer as they used to be before. Of a truth, before, very children at very young age could achieve a lot intellectually, more than what we have presently, especially with the internet age. Everybody's on the internet. Father is on the internet. Mother's on the internet. Children are doing their own. Nobody's even checking anymore. In the past, whatever you are doing, your father is aware of it. Even if you are reading, your father knows what you are reading. I remember those days when I was growing up. My father would come to the sitting room and see me reading, and he would be complaining, "What are you reading? Dictionary? Why are you reading dictionary? Is that what you need? Is there no mathematics? Is there no English book? Is there no science book? Is there no this, no that? You are reading dictionary." And wallahi, I could read a dictionary for hours. He would be complaining, That means he knew what I was doing. But these days, parents don't care anymore. Very, very few still do. Everybody is career driven. You start hearing things like, "I cannot be a lazy wife, I cannot be a housewife, I cannot sit down at home, blah, 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 blah." Truth is, the woman is a very important pillar in Islamic community. So much so that the scholars like Ibn Qayyim said that if a woman is not trained, he does not have knowledge, especially knowledge of the deen, then the nation can be destroyed by that. Female education is very important, if not more important than that of the men, because of their role in nation building. But when we decide to disregard this, then we're only doing ourselves harm. Now, firstly, what we need to do, we need to go back and check how were those persons focused on learning. How come they were not as disorganized as this? The simple reason is the parents of those days were not as the parents of these days are. Then they had more time for their children than we have now. Two, you must understand that action speaks louder than voice. That means what your children learn from you, from your actions, are greater than what they learn from your speech, from what you teach them, the books and the rest. The parents, father and mother, are the first school, most important school of the children. Okay? What do you do in their presence? In my place of in our school, a parent came to complain that the child was not praying, and the man started to blame the school. So say, "Oh, you are using an Islamic school, the children don't pray at home. Now what do you teach them at school?" Then my director asked him, "Sorry, sir, we are very sorry for this development. But I want to ask you a question. When last did you pray at home?" The man said, I leave the house very early. I come very late. I don't usually have time to pray like that." Okay. How do you expect the children to pray, or to know how to pray, or to know that prayer is compulsory when you don't pray? Do you understand? This is a father. This is not a story. This is not a film. This is not a movie. This is a real life occurrence, I'm telling you, that happened in my school. The father does not pray at home because he claims to be very busy, and then he's complaining that the children don't pray, and then he's blaming the school. When we're at school, the children pray at school, right? We ensure everybody prays. Zuhr, Asr, those are the only prayers they pray at school. So we ensure everybody prays at school. But when they go back home, they are with you. It's not they are not boarding now. They are with you at home. They pray Fajr at home. They pray Maghrib and Isha at home with you. If you don't go to the masjid, how will you know that it is important for you to hold your son's hand and say, "Let's go to the mosque together"? If you don't pray at home, how would you know it is important for you to tell your son, "Make ablution, let's pray together"? You don't do that, but you're complaining that the child does not pray. So the parents are the first schools of the children. What you do, they copy. Do you understand? What you do, they copy. If you dress well, your favorite children will like to dress like you. If you are wearing camisoles every time, they will also want to be like you. Okay? If you are neat, you take a bath 10 times in a day, they want to be like you. But if you take a bath once in 3 days, theirs will be once in a week. That's how it works. Negativity is always more powerful sometimes when it comes to child upbringing. They learn bad things better than they learn good things. So when, for example, a parent is dirty, father or mother, especially mother, because they are mostly with the children, and she does not bathe 1 in 2 days, be rest assured that that child will not bathe for 1 week. Okay? So this is how it works. If the woman is always in the kitchen cooking, the children will also be drawn towards the kitchen to cook. Now, you have to first of all practice what you want them or how you want them to be. You have to start doing it. You have to consciously change yourself. Oh, I want my children to be very prayerful. You have to start being prayerful. That's the first stage. I want my children to always read the Quran. You have to start it. It may not be easy for you, but it's a sacrifice that is worth paying. I want to make this sacrifice so my children can become like this. You start it. Okay? I want my children to always observe tahajjud, for example. Then you have to start it. So all these things are things that they learn from the parents. That's one. You want your children not to lie, you have to be truthful at all times. You want them not to cheat, you have to start it. Because sometimes we may think that the children are not there. They are not where we are working, so they don't know what we do at work. But you don't know that we gave birth to them, our blood runs in their veins. They will become like us one day. And they will become worse than us. We were cheating in our workplaces. We are politicians who embezzle money. Our children will grow up and start doing that and become worse than us. Okay? So we have to become better for our children's sake, number one. Number two, you have to ensure that you are close to your child in such a way that you know what they are doing, you know who their friends are, you are very close to them. And teach them, look, children are no longer small. Oh. Children are no longer small. From childhood, start to educate them. Teach the child, the boy child, the importance of your mother, the importance of your sisters, the importance of your females, your cousins, your female siblings, your relatives, your neighbors. Teach them how to take care, how to secure their sisters. Teach them the honor of their sisters. Teach them why they should respect their sisters. The sisters, teach them the respect of their brothers. Why they should honor their brother, why they should respect their brothers. Give them the education of what it means to relate to a male, whether as a brother, as a father, as a son, as a neighbor, as a cousin, as a nephew, whatever. Teach them. Let them learn it. Because if you don't teach them, the society will teach them. The school system will teach them. And we all know what happens to society today and the schools. We all know the kind of people who are bred by society and the school systems. So they must learn first at home before they go out. You have to make that sacrifice. Okay? Again, you have to ensure that you give them the appropriate education in terms of sending them out to schools where they can learn Islam. When you learn Islam and you know Islam, every other thing becomes easy and fertile. But when you go to the world and learn the world before you come to learn Islam, you may become corrupted first before you learn Islam. Okay? We should have doctors who are good Muslims, who follow the Sunnah, who treat with the Sunnah, who are careful, who are humble, who believe in Allah and obey Allah sincerely, who don't cheat people, don't scam people. We should have lawyers who are the same. We should have, politicians who are the same. We should have nurses who are alike. We should have engineers in every area like that. But they have to start from us, the home. We have to teach them. We ourselves need to talk to our husbands well in such a way that the girls know how to relate with their husbands and their brothers and their fathers. The same thing applies to the males. They should know how to relate with their mothers the way their father relates with their mother. They should know how to relate with their wives. Because a male child can grow up thinking that a woman is irrelevant in the house. The man only makes decisions. When mother says, why? The father shuts her up. So he grows up with that mentality. Even when he's going to school, his classmates will not dare to utter anything where he is, because that's where he's coming from. You understand? So we have to consciously behave in such a way that our children will learn positivities from us and not the other way around. May Allah Ta'ala bless our children and make them better children to us, and as well make us better parents to them. Any other questions? Any other questions? No. Yes. Yes. Okay, so we are on the questions. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has made it easy and possible for us to hold this class. This is our first class that we are streaming live on YouTube, and inshallah we are going to continue, in this manner. The idea, the main aim of this class is to train us to study the deen properly. And this is entirely for sisters, because, there are very few places where our sisters, are able to go to learn without fear of that fear, any type of fear. We have many places, where men can go and learn, but there are very few places where women can learn. And in this society where we stay, such places where women learn, they do more of prayers, more of they call it salatu, than proper learning of the deen, proper learning of the fiqh, of the sharia, of hadith, of Quran, and so on. So this is why we are here, to study the deen together, to learn Islam, to learn the hadith, to learn the seerah, to learn the fiqh, and so on. And we have gone far. I think we are in our third year right now, right? This is our third year of establishing this study center, and we hope to continue, inshallah. May Allah continue to strengthen us, and may Allah grant us the benefit of coming here, the aim of learning, of becoming better, of strengthening our iman. We ask Allah to grant us, success in that and make us achieve it. And we ask Allah Ta'ala to save us from any form of riyah, show off, of pride, such that will kill the rewards of all our good deeds. We ask Allah Ta'ala to continue to bless our families, our husbands, and our children. And we ask Allah Ta'ala to continue to make us better parents to them, to the children, and make them better children to us. اللهم ربنا تقبل هذا منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم واغفر لنا ذنوبنا وارحمنا إنك أنت الغفور الرحيم اللهم استجب دعاءنا إنك أنت السميع الدعاء اللهم استجب دعاءنا إنك أنت السميع الدعاء اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك وسبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وسبحان ربك رب العزة ما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين